Our next speaker, Saraswathi Vasudevan, presents insights from Sankhya Yoga for dealing with pandemic-related stress. Saraswathi founded Yoga Vahini in India, a specialized yoga training therapy and research center. Yoga Vahini's Yoga Vedya training program was the first in India to earn an IYT accreditation. Please visit iyt.org/Global Yoga Therapy Day for a complete bio. Pass this on to Saraswathi.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you for the kind introduction and the invitation to be part of this forum. I'm also very grateful to all my teachers who have continued to teach me, support me, and guide me through this path, so that I'm able to share something from my learning and experience. So I'm going to begin with a short prayer and a short meditative practice. Okay. So if you're sitting on the chair, just make sure your feet is on the ground, your back is erect, relax your shoulders, bring your chin down. You can simply listen with your eyes closed. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Just take a moment to steady your posture. Make sure your spine is erect, your chest and abdomen are free so that your breath can flow well. Just bring your awareness to the body, to your feet, to the lower part of your body, your seat, to the abdomen, the chest, the spine. Bring your attention to your throat, your neck, your jaws, your face, all the way to the top of your head. And gently guide your awareness back to the feet. As you deepen your awareness of the body, just become aware of the parts that might be feeling tight or uncomfortable. Gently breathe into these parts, relax, and if need be, move into a more comfortable position. Bring your awareness to your breath. Just become aware of your exhalation and your inhalation. Observe the quality of your breath. And now bring your attention to your sense organs. What is the mind holding on to that you may have received through your sight, through your hearing, the memory of sensations in the body? Whatever the senses have transferred to the mind that the mind is still holding on to, just recognize them and let them go. As you exhale, one by one, just drop everything so that you can completely come into this moment. And now become aware of your thoughts. What are you holding on to from the past, about the future, even about what you're listening to? Can you let them drop? Deepen your awareness of the breath so that you can use your breath to clear your mind of whatever does not belong to this moment. Become aware of yourself, who you are, the ideas, the definitions you hold about yourself. Right now, what is arising? Let them go as well. You're just aware. Allow your breath to settle down into a very quiet, relaxed, natural rhythm. Become aware of the space between the inhalation and the exhalation. And between the exhalation and the next inhalation. Bring your awareness to the silence and the stillness beyond the breath. And from this space of quiet awareness, watch yourself. Become aware of your thoughts. Bring your attention to your sense organs. And to your body. Take a few deep breaths. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello, everyone. So the topic I have chosen is insights from Yoga and Sankhya to help us deal with the stress in the post-pandemic period. Now, when we are talking about Yoga and Sankhya, we are looking at it as philosophies. And very often, the idea of a philosophy is seen as something very dry, right? Something that you are studying, some theory, something that's far distant away from your actual reality. But the truth is, Yoga and Sankhya are actually talking about the actuality. Okay, right now, what is happening within you, within me, and in this space around us and the whole universe. So it's really about understanding reality, understanding evolution, understanding what is happening in the here and now, right? So nothing can be closer to you than that, right? Your own body, your sense organs, your breath, your mind, yourself, and that which is beyond all this, which is experiencing, right? So I really want us to connect to what I am sharing at that level, at a more experiential level than as a theory. Okay, so the reason why I didn't choose to use PowerPoints, because then we get caught up with words, terminologies, and the intellect becomes too active. So looking at stress, of course, stress has so many forms it has taken. We have always had it, but pandemic has opened up new, varied dimensions of stress. And all of us, different stages of life, different socio-economic strata have been experiencing post-pandemic stress in many, many ways. I can share from my own space where I am today, because each of us experience it differently, uniquely, right? Where I am today, I realize that I am not able to actually operate with a certain sense of definitiveness. Now, we always know that everything is changing, everything is impermanent, yeah? And you can never be sure about anything. But what the pandemic has thrown open is this whole ground that we stood on, that we thought was permanent, started shaking, right? Started giving way in some ways. And so we don't know anymore. Particularly with the younger generation, I hear that there is enormous amount of anxiety and fear that we operate from. And this is expressing itself. What are we left with today and who have we become today? I think that's what I want to really look at, right? The uncertainties, the changes that have happened at so many levels. Compulsivity has increased, probably. And compulsivity in a way that we are seeking solutions to our problems outwardly. We're all the time looking for solutions, looking to see how I can be happier, more comfortable, feel more safe, secure, whatever that might be, right? So addictions have increased, definitely. Our will has probably weakened. So we are not able to take something and stay with it long enough. Our attention span has drastically reduced, right? We want instant gratification. So Instagram and, all these quick fix kind of solutions that we are constantly seeking is somewhere pulling us apart, fragmenting the mind. Really, what is happening to our health, our body, the choices that we make, all of these are in some way distorted because of the underlying fear and insecurity that we have developed as a race. And we continue to propagate that in so many ways, right? While we need instant gratification, we are also afraid to commit. So there's great level of commitment phobia, commitment to anything, like even a practice or a teacher or a system. Yeah, anything. I'm not sure that this is really going to serve me enough, give me the comfort that I need, keep me away from pain. Yeah. And a high level of individuation. Like we really start feeling that we are such strong, isolated beings. We have really moved so much away from reality, from connection, real connections. The thing is, we are not even aware of many of these. Yeah. So the underlying fear that we are operating from is really something that is tangible if we really pay attention to it. It impacts our sleep, it impacts our energy level, it impacts, of course, our health and well-being. It impacts the choices that we are making in our life, right? The decisions we are making and our actions. So it's become a kind of a vicious cycle that whatever I am trying to run away from is what I get caught up with. So how does yoga look at it? How does yoga and Sankhya look at it? I'm going to stay with the Yoga Sutra and refer to Sankhya because that's a much more complex subject and some of the words may not even be familiar, but the concepts are similar. Okay. So one is the compulsion to always want and seek out that which will give me pleasure and comfort, what we call raga. Okay. I want only what will keep me happy. The other side of the coin is that whatever has caused me pain in the past, whatever can potentially cause me pain, I want to run away from it. I want to block it. I want to fight with it. And I continue to do that in so many ways. So my pleasure-seeking tendency, my pain-avoiding tendency. So we realize that there is something inside us, yeah, that is creating this. It is not something outside. We often think it is the object that is causing me pain or pleasure. But if I really look within, I see that it is something inside me, some tendency inside me that's creating it. And then we are rediscovering ourselves, right, with all that is happening around us. And we are also in a great hurry to solidify this form of ourselves so that we can protect it. And we are so deeply entrenched and identified with it that we call the asmita. So raga, dvesha, asmita. And the underlying need for me to continue to exist in this form, okay, abhinivesh. I want to feel safe. Okay, I don't want to experience anything that will make me feel unsafe. Now, all of this is playing within me, and the mother, the ground, the root of all this, which is invisible, is that I really don't know who I am, and therefore I'm caught up in the cycle of dukkha. And everything that I do, I don't know that it is going to create more dukkham. Dukkham is suffering, constriction, something that makes me feel that I have lost my freedom. I'm not free anymore. Okay? You experience it physically in the heart, in the chest area, with a strong constriction. Okay? It's very subtle. Sometimes we're not even aware of it, but often we're aware of the thought processes and the actions that we do that come out of it. So what does Yoga and Sankhya say about this? It says, as long as we are looking for solutions outside because we think the problems are coming from outside, we are trapped in the cycle of suffering. Yeah. Sankhya begins with this theory of dukkham. It says there are three kinds of dukkham, three kinds of suffering. One, what I create and generate for myself. There's something inside me that creates it. Okay. Very often I'm not aware of it. It's hidden. That is called adhyatmika dukkha. Don't worry about the words. Something that I self-generate. This is the first form of dukkha. The second one is what I see and identify as created by factors around me, outside of me. It could be people, it could be, like, for example, the virus, plants, animals, any aspect of nature, all the elements. Okay? Adi bhautika dukkha. Now, this is very common that when I experience suffering, when I am hurt, I know the cause for that is coming from outside me, and it is true. To some extent, it's coming from outside me, right? And I think that situation has to change for me to feel better. So I have given away my power to that external agency. The third is Adi Daivika Dukkham, where I really don't even know the source. Okay? It's beyond me. So we attribute it to some divine intervention and say, I don't know. So we have Adi Daivika Dukkham, some unknown factors, Adi Bhautika, external factors, Adi Adhyatmika, which is my own self. Now, only when I turn inward and I begin to look at how am I creating the suffering for myself, and obviously the suffering for the others as well, only when I start looking inward does my yoga journey begin. Okay? And so Sankhya says, recognize Adhyatmika Dukkha. And this Dukkham is coming from this field of avidya, right? My need to seek pleasure and want comfort, my need to avoid pain at any cost, right? My attachment to my identity and the underlying fear of non-existence, that I will not exist in this form. Okay. So all of this is happening. Now, Sankhya says, if you really want to understand this, you want to go into yourself. You have to really understand reality, because Dukkham is part of our reality. I cannot run away from it. Nobody can run away from it. Yeah, like happiness, pain is also part of our reality. All that we can do is learn to understand this properly so that we know what to do. Yeah. Then our actions can be more empowered. We have choices that we can make. So this is the first step, we are going into what we call the Sankhya cosmology, the theory or the whole evolutionary framework. And I don't want to delve too much into it because it's very complex and, years and years of study and reflection and going back into it is required for us to understand this to some extent. So this is a very short time for us to get into that complexity. But just to give you an overview of that, okay? Starting with understanding ourselves at the gross level. So we have our physical body, right? The physical body made up of the 5 elements. The earth, the water, the fire, air, and space. In different proportions, that each individual being in this world is made up of different combination of these 5 constituent elements. Okay? Where are these coming from? More subtle prototypes, which is, again, the whole evolutionary process going from subtle to gross. Okay? The earth is at the grossest level, then the water, fire, air, and the subtle principle is space. Space is created from sound. So the tanmatra or the subtle building blocks of the elements is sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Okay? Shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, and gandha. Now this constitutes the physical reality. Then we have the functional aspect, right? How do we experience all of this? Through our sense organs. So we have 10 sense organs. We have 5 organs of perception through which I can receive information from the world. Okay? So relating to space, we have the faculty of hearing. I can hear, you can hear, right? Relating to the air element, touch. Okay, so skin is the organ that helps you to experience that touch. Then relating to the element fire is the eyes, so that you can see, you need light to see, right? Relating to the element water is taste, so the organ is the tongue. And relating to the element earth is smell and the olfactory senses. So we have these 5 organs of perception. We also have 5 organs of action. Our hands, starting with our speech, our hands, our feet, right? The organs of elimination, the organs of procreation, the sexual organs. So there are 10. So these 10 are called like 10 doors. And then there are 3 doorkeepers. They are more subtle. Right? The subtle aspects cannot be experienced by the 10 senses. They cannot be understood by the 10 senses. You need the more subtle aspect itself to understand. So these 3 faculties are, first is called the manas, which is receiving all the information, processing it, acting from that. Okay, the manas is the coordinating principle. And that is what we call the mind. Generally, when I look at what is the mind, I understand the mind, this is the manas. Then there is something inside me that is identifying with every experience, saying, oh, this is happening to me. I like this. I don't like this. Okay, this is how I want to be seen. This is how I don't want to be seen. Right? The ahamkara. The asmita, which is my form, my idea of myself, which is created and recreated by the I maker, which is the ahamkara. Far more subtle. Okay? And then the even more subtle awareness, which is called the buddhi, which has the intelligence, which is actually the one that carries the intelligence and the order of the universe, that can create and recreate everything in the same way, right? So these 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, and the 3 antahkarana, which are called the internal faculties, plus the body made up of the 5 elements and the 5 subtle aspects of the elements, all of these together are evolutes. What are they evolving from moment to moment is what's called the Mula Prakriti, or the unmanifest source of all matter, all nature. Now, this may sound very theoretical, right? But understand that all of this that I talked about, these are in total 24 principles, are inert. They don't have life by themselves. They become enlivened because of the prana. And the prana is like the breath of the consciousness of the Purusha, which comes into contact with this Mula Prakriti, okay? This unmanifest source of all existence, and then evolution begins. Now, this did not happen millions of years ago. It is happening in the here and now. The Purusha, the consciousness, and the Prakriti are coming together again and again and again. Every kshana, every moment, prana is generated, and the prana is experiencing everything. Through the prana, the self is experiencing everything. The body, the senses, the mind, all the faculties, our memories, everything. Yeah. So, what is the implication of this particular model? This is what is more interesting for me. First of all, to know that evolution is happening in the here and now. It was not something that happened in the distant past. Okay, which means that in the here and now, there is a possibility for change and transformation. So this philosophy actually teaches us that if you learn to look at yourself in a different way, it is possible that healing can become transformative. Yeah. And how does it ask us to look at ourselves? From inside out, not from outside in. Okay, but we have to begin somewhere. We have to begin from our body. So we start exploring the body through diet, through asana. Then we look at our prana through the breath. We clean the system so that the prana can flow well. We take care of our sense organs. Once we do the pranayama, then the sense organs already are ready to move inward, right? And they're ready to drop what they are holding on to and start following the mind. And then dharana is to train the mind to be one point. Because this is a very hard journey. You're moving from the gross to the subtle. We always need something gross to hold on to. That's why asana is so big in the world, right? Because I can hold on to it. It's tangible. And what if I let go of what is tangible, what I can hold on to through my senses? I need to use my inner faculties. Yeah, I need a strong sense of will. I need a clear direction. I need to be continuously inspired to move in this direction. Otherwise, all that is outside is so exciting, it will pull me out, right? So I need to know which direction to move. I need guidance on that. And I need to also know how to deal with the obstacles that will come in the way, that will block me from moving into the subtler aspects of myself. And remember, evolution is from subtle to gross. Therefore, subtle is more powerful than the gross. Unless I train myself through my practice to touch the more subtle aspects of myself, until my mind becomes more and more quiet and subtle, I cannot really move in this direction. Yeah. So this is a very, very important thing to remember. Subtle is more important and more powerful than the gross. And let's not get stuck with the gross. Even in a simple asana practice, we should be able to touch that which is very, very quiet and subtle. You know, that which is actually experiencing this body right now. That which is actually moving this breath, that which is actually listening, that which is actually seeing. What is that? Can I have a curiosity about it? Can I have a reverence about it? And can I start following that? Can I start moving inward? That is really the direction of yoga. And the goal is to really, truly understand my true nature, that I am this Purusha, the unchanging, permanent, pure entity. And everything else is a covering on me. And everything else exists to serve this Purusha. The body exists to serve this Purusha. The sense organ exists to serve this Purusha. The mind, even the ego, exists to serve this Purusha. They don't exist for their own sake. That's what Sankhya says. Yeah. Another very important implication of this framework is that Sankhya is saying your body, your senses, okay, and your breath can only live in this moment. They cannot live in the past or the future. Just think about it. Okay. Can you ever experience your body? What you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling, what you're tasting, what you're feeling in the past or future. You have memory of what you heard. You have memory of what you saw, but all that is held as an imprint in your mind. Okay. So the real culprit is the antahkarana, the internal faculties that hold on to these experiences. Okay. Now the good news is the mind, because it can imagine, it can remember. When you have a beautiful experience in your practice, the mind can remember that and say that when my mind is really quiet, there's something that happens. I can see more. I can understand more. Oh, now I know that the problem is not from outside. There is something inside me that I need to discover. And not about blaming oneself, beating oneself up. That is not there in yoga. There is no place for guilt or shame in yoga, really. Because it's with great curiosity and wonderment that you look at everything. Yeah, even the most beautiful, even the most ugly. You look at it with wonderment because it's coming from great intelligence. Okay. So you learn to look inward. And what is underlying all of this? Both yoga and Sankhya talk about this. The underlying ground, what actually inspires the unmanifest matter to start evolving is that these three energies that we call gunas, the rajas, tamas, and sattva, that were in perfect equilibrium, when the Purusha comes into touch with Prakriti, okay, the consciousness gets in touch with the inert matter, then these three lose their equilibrium. Now you know that your source is that perfect harmony and equilibrium, okay, and that has got lost. So the rajas, tamas, and sattva are constantly changing, and that is the root of all of evolution. So everything that this world, this universe is made up of, including my body, mind, senses, everything, trees, plants, mosquitoes, everything, is simply a combination of these three gunas, rajas, tamas, and sattva. And because I know intuitively, there's some hidden memory, hidden in the deep intelligence within me, that says, there's a source I came from, and there was perfect balance, and I want to go back to it. There was perfect equilibrium. That was, I want to go back to it. Yeah. Now, isn't this so inspiring, actually, to know that if I find ways, if I know how I can turn my mind inward and start exploring and understanding my reality better and better, remembering what I need to remember, studying, practicing, feeling inspired, and continuing to work on this inner inquiry, there is a possibility that I can really understand how am I creating my samskaras, my conditioning. How am I recreating myself in this form over and over and over again? And it's very stifling. I don't want to be this. I want to change. But I'm compulsively driving myself in the same way. My actions are the same. But I can change. So the hope and the promise that Sankhya gives you is every moment the prana is born afresh. Okay, fresh, pure prana. And it is moving through all aspects of myself. It is touching the outer world, coming back and giving me the experience, giving the self the experience. So in any given moment, I can change the root of this prana. I can choose, I can make choices. I can change the way I live my life because the prana can then flow in a different direction. And this can only happen through practice, not through intellectual discourse, right? Sankhya gives you the theory. Yoga says, now come practice, start. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready to move inward? Atha Yoga Anushasana. Every aspect of Sankhya can be understood through yoga. And the text says it's like you have a gooseberry on your palm. No? It should be so apparent. Yes, this is what it is. Okay, but I start with what I learned through my text, through my teachers, and through their experience. Okay, then I infer, and then I say, yeah, this is the direction I want to move. I don't want to suffer. And I don't want to just find temporary solutions, because Sankhya says there are numerous ways in which mankind has evolved to find temporary solutions. They are inadequate, they are impermanent, they are indefinitive, and they don't solve all our problems. They don't solve all our problems all the time. So unless we look at the problem as Adhyatmika and look at the Adhyatmika component, I'm not even saying that you don't suffer because of external factors. But what we can do is only what we can do. And that is really looking at our inner process. What am I really attached to? It could be people, it could be things, it could be myself, a certain idea of myself, right? What am I so averse to? Okay, who's this I that I'm talking about? Is there really a person? Okay, because there are several forms of this I that come up in different situations. Then who am I really? I have to really ask. And then what is underlying that? What is the fear with which I'm holding all of this together? That I want to protect myself in this form over and over again. The invisible, hidden abhinivation. So we start discovering all of this through practice. Okay. Shall we do a short practice? Can you please sit with your back straight? I'm just going to ask you to do some arm movements. Okay. And this is how we can do our asana practice with the breath and really paying attention to the silence between the in-breath and the out-breath. Breathe in a very quiet way and move in a very smooth way. Okay. And really pay attention to your body. Exhale completely now. And as you continue to exhale, completely drop everything and let your mind go deep in and settle in a very restful space. Your mind has become very quiet. And from here, start inhaling. And as you continue to inhale, raise your arms from the sides all the way up. Complete your inhalation. Feel the fullness. Start exhaling. And slowly start lowering your arms all the way down from your sides. Just a very simple arm movement, but with great attention. Inhaling, raising your arms from the sides all the way up. Feel the stretch of your spine. Really inhabit your body fully, completely. Pause. Feel the fullness of the in-breath. Be still. Be quiet. Start exhaling and start lowering your arms. Complete the exhalation and let all the movement settle down. Let all the activity settle down, just even for a few seconds. Feel the stillness and the emptiness. Take your awareness deep into yourself, deep into your heart. And from there, start inhaling. Just do a couple of more movements. Keep your senses fully open. Let your body rejoice in this movement. of being fully present, fully attentive. So once you have completed the movement, just settle down. Continue to watch your breath. Pause a little longer after your exhalation, so you can let your whole system settle down, be very quiet. Let your mind just move into the heart and rest there. Then start inhaling from there. Awaken your body through your breath. Awaken your senses. Just experience yourself being fully alive and present in this moment. And your mind is fully anchored to your breath, to your body. You can open your eyes. Just remember that in practice, of course, we all may be doing some asana, pranayama, meditative practices, right? But in the practice, find some space for quietness. Find some quiet space, some empty space in your daily life. Find spaciousness in it, right? In your daily routine. There should be some time that you are not doing anything, that you're not the doer. And you're not being anything. You're not being this teacher, you're not being this student, you're not being this practitioner, you just are. Right? So you discover deeper and deeper layers of yourself. And that will be very empowering. With the right teacher, with the right kind of community, practicing community that can support you, and you can support it. Okay, continuous study and self-reflection. All of these are absolutely required for this journey. Let me tell you, it's a very, very exciting journey.
We have a couple of questions that are popping into our Q&A chat box that I'd like to share with you. The next question is from Kevin James. He asked, are there particular practices that help to burn away the samskaras more effectively than others?
The path is meditation. There is nothing else. There is no shortcut. So learning to actually look within and look at the inner processes. Yoga Sutra says, dhyana heyaha tadvrutaya. Actually look at how these samskaras are manifesting. And just learning to watch it and where you watch it from is extremely important. Our teachers always stress upon that. That you watch it from a very deep location within you where you don't get caught up with it. You're not actually, adding fuel to it, but you learn to look at it from the space of a witness. Okay, just pure awareness. And just where you look at it from and how you look at it from can create heat of tapas that can burn these. And how do you know that you have burned some of these samskaras? The memory might stay, but it won't grip you. It won't cause you the pain that it caused you.
Thank you so much for articulating that. So the quality of the witnessing is important.
And the location. The location is very important. And for that location is the practice, yeah. So asana, inhabiting your body, so you sit with sthiram sukham, pranayama, very quiet, subtle breath. Then you do pratyahara, pull your prana away from the external objects and direct the mind in dharana, dhyana. Dhyana is yoga. It's another word for yoga.
Thank you so much. Our next question from Monica Badvar. How to still the mind off the mat? Your suggestions on how to help still the mind off the mat.
One is to actually look at a problem and look at a solution. But yoga is saying don't go from problem to solution. Look at the cause. Why am I not able to still my mind? I have to look at that, right? What is really bothering me? So is it my excess of engagement through my senses? Is it my food? Is it my lifestyle? Is it my practice itself? That's actually moving me outward rather than inward. So understanding the cause behind the manifestation and then dealing with the cause. I really have to look at my food. The food, if it becomes more sattvic, then the mind is not so distracted or dull. Yeah, it is not rajasic or tamasic. Good sleep in the night. The right kind of asana practice, not any asana practice, so that your rajas comes down, right? Pranayama that will reduce the heaviness and the dullness of the mind, then already you're ready. Already the mind will tune itself and say, yeah, I will only choose what is good for me. You naturally gravitate towards what will quieten the mind. That's the journey. Every step takes you to the next step.
Thank you so much. Our next question is from Uma Alessandra Kochi. She asks, which are the scriptures dukkhas are described in? I guess which scriptures are dukkhas described in? Many.
What I mentioned is the first verse from Sankhya Karika. Dukkhatraya bhigata jijnasa tadabhigata ke hetu. It says there are three kinds of dukkham and mankind is continuously trying to find solutions and they are impermanent, inadequate, and therefore start turning inward. There are many other texts that also present this Dukkhatrayam. Yoga Sutra looks at Dukkhatrayam in a different way, the three Dukkha. Trayam means three. Yoga talks about change, parinama. Okay, there's a certain intensity of longing, tapa, and conditioning, sanskara, as Dukkhatrayam. But the more popular Dukkhatraya is the Adibhautika, Adhyatmika, and Adidaika. Many texts talk about it. It's like common knowledge.
Thank you so much. We have another question from someone. Can you mention any reference book for Sankhya?
Sankhya Karika by Ishwara Krishna. Okay, maybe you have to learn it with a teacher because it's very complex. The first time, second time, third time, fifth time, 10th time, I hardly understood anything. And every time I sit with this text, there's something new that comes up. It's a very beautiful text. But without the practice of yoga and the understanding of Yoga Sutra, Sankhya is difficult to understand. Without Sankhya, Yoga Sutra cannot be understood properly. Both go together. They're twin philosophies. Sankhya comes before him. And Sankhya is also the basis for many other darshanas, many other philosophies, like Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Ayurveda, all of them.